it just won't end. And does it keep getting worse? Does it keep getting uglier?
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Friday, July 25th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Welcome in, everybody. The Detroit Tigers have now lost 10 of their last 11 ball games as they get absolutely smacked around Comerica Park by the Toronto Blue Jays. The final score ends up being 11-4, and that's even better than it actually was, which that's not a fun score. That's not a good score. But three of those runs were kind of, in garbage time at the end of the ball game for the Tigers. They were down 10 going into the ninth inning. They fall to 60-44 on the season. The Blue Jays improve to 61-42, and the Tigers lead in the American League Central now sits at 8 games. First thought is that this was just a complete disaster. Everything has collapsed all at once. Like every facet of this roster is in deep, deep trouble. Like the starting pitching outside of Tarek Skubal, it hasn't been good. The bullpen has legitimately turned into one of the worst bullpens in baseball, and that is not that one. You say what you will about, me being overly dramatic. That is backed up by statistics. That is not a me being, too overreactionary. For all intents and purposes, like I said, this was a 10-run blowout loss. I just have, my brain is all over the place. I have so much. This offense hasn't drawn a walk in 2 whole games, dude. Like, I know that's like a minute thing, all things considered, right? There's so many issues that are plaguing this team at the moment. But that is just so polar opposite of what this team is, still trying to implement, and the mindset that they're trying to institute at all levels of the organization. But it's so different from what we saw earlier in the year. They were never like, leading baseball in walk rate or anything, but they at least made pitchers work. Eric Lauer in 2025 just took the Tigers into the 8th inning. No disrespect. He's actually had a pretty darn good season. But that is one after another after another. All but 2 starting pitchers the Tigers have faced since the All-Star break have gone at least 6 innings. And those other 2 went 5 and 5 2/3. All of them are giving their team innings, resting their bullpen for the rest of the series, and just straight up doing well. There is 0 competitive at-bats. The base runners that the Tigers do get are with, 1 out, man on first, and then it's a double play. Or it's an extra base hit, but it's with 2 outs and nobody on. And then the next batter just ends the inning. There is 0 shared team approach at the plate. 0. And like I said, It's everything. It's not just the offense. It's not just the bullpen. It's not just the starters. It's all three of them, doing a dance together. So what went wrong? Well, which one of those areas would you like to start with? We'll go pitching first here. Every single pitcher, every single actual pitcher gave up multiple runs in this game. Jake Rogers threw a shutout inning. Shout out. Reese Olson goes 5 2/3, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 2 home runs. So I saw some people that were saying, oh, AJ left him in too long. Who are you putting into the ball game there? Who I would rather have Reese Olson than anybody not named Will Vest, maybe Tyler Holton in the bullpen, and you're not going to either of those guys in the 6th inning. So please enlighten me on who this savior from the arm barn was going to be in that inning. Olson's command was brutal. And honestly, it was brutal the entire outing. I know he had 5 shutout innings, and he was able to keep the score down, etc. But hanging changeups a lot of the outing. He got hit really hard, a lot of hard hit line drives to Winfield Perez in right field, a couple line drives to first and second base. He gave up a ton of hard contact. The slider, obviously the big home run, was on a mid. I don't think it could have been more middle hanging slider over obviously the heart of the plate. And his fastball just wasn't very effective. The velocity was weird with it. It kind of went down to like 91, 92 at one point. I don't know, man. It was not great. His ERA is now 3.15 on the season. Obviously still very good season numbers, and something that, his last outing I thought was his best since coming back from injury. And this pretty... I don't want to say it was like a massive step backwards or anything, but, obviously ended poorly. Then you talk about the bullpen. Dietrich ends 1 1/3, 4 hits, 4 runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. His ERA is now 5.71 on the season. Just straight up, I just don't think he has, major league stuff for a team that's trying to win a division. That's really all I have to say. The one thing I continue to give him credit for is the fastball. I think is relatively effective, but it's 93. In today's day and age of baseball, you can't just throw, 80%, 93 mile an hour fastballs and be effective, especially as a reliever. The secondary stuff I don't think is good enough. What he gives you is innings. And to be honest with you, that's most of these guys can give you innings, but all but like 2 of them at the moment are not giving you very good innings. And then you end with Jeff Hartlieb, who's called up before the ball game, gives up an absolute missile to right field. That ball was annihilated. I mean, we talked about, the organizational depth and why it's not a problem to go out and get, minor league relievers to put in AAA for depth purposes and to just see if you can help them develop maybe. But Jeff Hartlieb has in 80 major league innings, has a career ERA over 7. It's like almost 8, actually. That's in 80 innings. It's not like a super small sample size. And you saw why. I didn't think the stuff played super well. But he also at 94, he throws like, the 5th hardest fastball on the team because we're allergic to velocity for some reason. So, word. There you go. There's the pitching breakdown. I am I am so sorry. I feel like I have like an attitude I'm not. I don't want people that like listen to this in the morning to have like their days ruined because I'm in a bad mood watching this team, etc. But if anything, I'm going to be straightforward about how I feel, if nothing else. And this is needless to say, a frustrating stretch of baseball for your Detroit Tigers. So I appreciate you all for tuning in. Let's keep going. Let's keep the ball rolling, and we'll talk a little bit about the offensive side of the ball and what could have gone better there. We'll do that right after this. First, though, got to talk to you about our friends over at GameTime. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in those stands. That's exactly where GameTime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without all of the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merchandise, or even invite a bigger group of people to come with you. But GameTime makes that possible. GameTime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes all of the worry out of buying. GameTime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game. Maybe the Detroit Tigers. You want to go see this product? Ooh. If you're tired of endless scrolling and trying to find the best deal, well, GameTime's Zone Picks pick the best seat for you in your section. So take the guesswork out of buying GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the GameTime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We are truly in this together. We are we are people in arms here, right? Locked arms, just going through this tough stretch. 10 of the team's last 11. Yikes. I am so in the sixth inning, I was angry. Okay, watching this game. While watching the sixth, they were up 1-0. I what a fool I am for thinking that they, had a chance ultimately, again, down 10 going into the ninth. So I was mad in that moment. By the ninth inning, it wasn't even anger anymore. It was just sadness feels too dramatic, but it was demoralizing. Like I wasn't even fired up or pissed off anymore. It was just like, wow, this is really kind of getting out of hand. I think pretty quickly. We'll talk a little bit more big picture stuff at the end of the show. Let's talk about the offense in this 11-4 loss to the Blue Jays. The Tigers have scored 13 runs in 7 games since the All-Star break. That is really bad, okay, for starters. That's less than 2 runs a game. That is terrible. That is including the 3 runs of garbage time that you had in this game that we're talking about on Thursday night, and 5 of those runs being scored in 1 game. That is a lot of shutouts and 1-run losses. A lot. And AJ tried to mix up the lineup a little bit on Thursday. Riley Green hitting 4th, Torkelson hitting 3rd. We haven't seen that, I don't think, all year. Torkelson ahead of Green. Didn't really change too terribly much. Colt Keith in the lineup against a left-handed pitcher. Didn't change too terribly much. Riley Green had a beautiful hit the other way, and then outside of that was pretty uncompetitive at bats. Went fishing on a ball that bounced maybe before it even reached home plate. So much swing and miss. And I think the most frustrating part of that aspect of Riley Green's game right now is that he is swinging and missing in the zone just so much, right? Like it's not necessarily all just decision making. It's not like he's going and chasing every single time he swings and misses. He is whiffing on seemingly everything, dog. And then you go down the lineup card. There's not. They scored one run in the first 8 innings, and it was in the first inning on a solo homer. They did next to nothing offensively for the first 8 innings of this ballgame. Matt Vierling, brutal, disgustingly gross at bats in this ballgame. Colt Keith, I've been an advocate for him getting more at bats against left-handed pitching. Brutal. Okay. In his first at bat, legitimately got back-to-back 91 mile an hour fastballs down the middle and popped both of them up to the third base side as a left-handed hitter. We can go down the line. Winfield Perez smoked a ball to dead center field. Outside of that, not too much. Dylan Dingler had a couple of knocks. That's good. Javi Baez, quick, uncompetitive at-bats. Trey Sweeney looked at a fastball literally right down the middle. It's everyone. So before excluding the 9th inning, which I guess is not like totally fair, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't think they've really earned the benefit of the doubt. The Tigers had 3 base runners on the game, 0 walks, and 4 team strikeouts. They ended with 7 strikeouts, 9 hits because of that 9th inning, and still 0 walks. It is, again, it really is kind of mind-boggling to me that everything has just hit the fan at the same time. What went right? What went right, dude? That's a great question. That you know what? You ask a lot of great questions. What went right? That's a good one. It's a good, solid, strong question, and I'm glad you asked it. Jahmai Jones, I guess, solo homer. It was a good swing too, man. Fastball inside, back to back. I don't know why Lauer did that, but fastballs inside, he turns and burns it. Tigers have a lead after the first inning. Then that was pretty much it. What else went right? I don't know if I can even answer like that. That might be the. How about this? Okay, here's a niche, a little bit of a curveball for you. Colt Keith's defense at third base, I thought was actually pretty good, which was, a concern for people, myself included. So if that still matters to anyone, which I can't imagine it does, then there you go. Colt Keith's defense at third base wasn't bad. Stuff. We talked about him earlier. Jeff Hartlieb, promoted from AAA for Carlos Hernandez, who was designated for assignment after this, or right before, rather, this ball game. I kind of said my piece on that a couple of days ago. Like, I think it was worth a shot. It was worth a try. He can throw 100, but it didn't work. And it didn't work when they tried to change his arsenal, and it didn't matter what happened. It didn't work. And this isn't like a failure on the Tigers. He got cut by a worse team before coming to Detroit. Has he played for 3 different teams this calendar year, or been a part of 3 different organizations this calendar year? Like, that's for a reason. So you tried, it didn't work. Here comes Jeff Hartlieb, who immediately gives up a 937-foot home run. So there you go. Okay, let's talk injury update. I don't have too much to say about it, to be honest with you, but we'll bring that up really quickly. We'll talk a little bit of big picture, kind of where the Tigers are at, then we'll preview the weekend, talk about, trade implications, all that good stuff. We'll do that right after this. First, though, got to talk to y'all about our friends over at GameDay Hue. Today's episode is brought to you by GameDay Hue, and do I have the hat near me? They sent all the host hats. Look how sick this is, dude. My head is too big, so there you go. But pretty sick. And you know what? For Tigers fans, obviously this one's red. For Red Wings fans, etc., these really hit the mark. GameDay Hue makes clean, no logo gear, as you noticed there if you're watching on YouTube, with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, and anywhere in between. I love rocking them on the course. I also don't have them near me, but they sent me some golf gloves that are very nice as well. Subtle, stylish, and I can still rep my team. Like I said, I've worn mine all over already, and we haven't even had them that long. They are fantastic. And it's not just hats or gloves. Like I said, they have split shade gloves that are really cool, made for the golf course, or the perfect gift for a fan who already has everything. Right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals, so now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com, code MLB15. All right, everybody, welcome back. Your third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate you all for tuning in, as always. Jake Rogers threw a knuckleball. I don't think anyone talked about it. That was kind of cool. If you're looking for any sort of like fun memento from this game, you have that. Kerry Carpenter hopefully is back soon. He's played a couple of games now down in Toledo. He played one in the outfield as well. Drew a walk, has a couple of knocks down there. So hopefully, I don't know if they're like willing to rush him up and just get him back up here by this weekend, or if they want him to play through the weekend in Toledo before he comes back up, maybe next week before they leave for the road trip. I'm not sure, but they need all the help they can get, man. It's going to be Carpenter, and it's going to be for Trey Sweeney almost assuredly, and that's a good trade-off given what this offense has been doing as of late. I think to zoom out a little bit and talk about I keep using the phrase big picture. I guess I'll stick with that. I think the most concerning thing to me about what these performances kind of reflect or imply is something that we talked a little bit about over the All-Star break. And that is some regression. We knew, again, we talked about it then, like we knew that some regression was going to happen, right? Zach McKinstry, love him, deserved to be an all-star based on the first half he had, but he wasn't going to end the season with an OPS over 800. That was, and hit over like 280. That was always going to be a long shot, right? I think his OPS might still be right around 800, if not just below. But like right now, you look at this roster, how many of these players are you confident are going to either bounce back or continue producing at the level they did in the first half? Glaber, sure. Riley Green, I know people are going to like scoff because he's, striking out at like a 45% clip or something ridiculous in July. It's disgusting. Okay. Yes. But he is still over the course of a season going to produce. We know how he operates. Torkelson, I think so. Torkelson has won me over this year with the mechanical changes he's made. We talked about that all season. Skubal, obviously. Will Vest, I guess. But like, Is that it? Again, I'm not trying to be overly dramatic to 11 games. I'm really trying to not be. And I hope that we can just look back at this, 2 months from now and go, wow, it was a really bad, 10 or 11 game stretch. Look how funny it was that I always preach not to overreact and then did it. What an idiot. I hope we can do that together. I really do. This bullpen, I do not trust a soul not named Will Vest. Not a single one. Literally. They have been brutal, dude. So they're literally all out of this, conversation, the answer to this question. The entire bullpen outside of Will Vest, gone. Completely not an answer to it. Starting rotation, I feel like Mize and Olsen are somewhat on similar grounds there. Olsen's been a little bit shaky since coming back from injury. We haven't really seen him able to go deeper into ball games. Obviously, he got popped in the 6th inning. In this one, Casey Mize doesn't get enough consistent swing and miss on any of the secondary pitches. He's been popped the last 2 or 3 times out, including the All-Star game. And Flaherty isn't a part of this because we're talking about matching production from the first half. We don't want that. Jack Flaherty didn't have a good first half. Job out for the season. So, there's your rotation. Cater Montero. I've been the biggest Cater Montero defender on the planet. I don't want him to be like the team's number 3 starter. Sawyer Gibson-Long been hurt. I'm running out of fingers as I, count the amount of names that I'm having this conversation. Troy Melton. I mean, who knows? He's 1 start in. I'm not going to really put him in this discussion. And then offensively, Javi, I don't know if anybody was like, oh, yeah, this first half just means that he's just going to be this the rest of his career, given how he's played so far in his Tigers tenure. McKinstry, we already talked about, a career OPS comfortably in the 600s. Parker Meadows hit really well in the major leagues for 3 months. Outside of that, has been inconsistent at best. Wensil Perez coming back down to earth after a hot start. Matt Vierling has been brutal at the plate. His OPS starts with a number 5. Colt Keith, inconsistent his entire major league career and is being used as a platoon bat by the manager. Jahmai Jones is a career minor leaguer that's about 30 years old. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to instill fear into people. I'm not trying to get, an entire fan base to freak out or overreact. I'm just saying not all of these guys are going to produce like they were at, when everything was going really well. Some of these guys are just going to regress back to, pre-2025 or regress to, not great production, and they will stay there. Right now, all of them are kind of doing that, which is why they've lost 10 of their last 11. But when we talk about they will win a ball game again, they will win a series again, right? They're gonna. It's just a matter of when they get out of this. Does that look like the first half of the season when they were, at one point 23 games over 500, or is that they get out of it and then they play 500 ball the rest of the way because that's what they actually are? And that is the $1 million question that only time will tell. Josh Naylor traded to Seattle. The only reason I bring that up, is I don't know. I saw some people that were like, oh, that return, the Tigers should have done that and played him where, man. They need all the help they can get offensively, but Josh Naylor pretty much only plays first base. I guess you could DH him. But then, when Carpenter's healthy again, you're losing that. I don't know. I understand that we just need offense, period. I get that. I think that does kind of shed a light on the Diamondbacks' plans going into the trade deadline. And I would imagine that means Suarez is going to get moved. It's going to be a hefty price for a rental because there is a legitimate argument that is the biggest bat on the entire trade market rather, this deadline. So it's not going to be cheap. Everything's relative year to year, right? He's a rental. He's a little bit older, whatever. It doesn't matter. If he's the best one on the market, he's the best one on the market. And there's going to be a bidding war between all the big market teams and you to bring him in. So you're going to have to pay up. And I'm not sure I have confidence that that's going to happen. 3 more games against the red-hot Toronto Blue Jays. You have Cater Montero against Jose Barrios today on Friday as you listen to this. Tarek Skubal, assuming he's back from paternity, which, like, it's just things are bigger than baseball. Okay, that is obviously a huge moment, and I don't know if she's had the child yet. I know when he got put on the list, she hadn't yet. That is far more important than the game on the field. He should be with his family and should be there in that moment. It's so perfect timing that while the Tigers are spiraling out of control and losing every night, the like only reliable player they have currently is is a toss up to pitch. So we'll see if that happens, but it's going to be Gausman on Saturday, who's obviously honestly got up to a pretty rough start this year, but is very talented and has given the Tigers fits for a while. And then Scherzer against Flaherty on Sunday is just the epitome of 2 guys that might be past their primes. Scherzer has an ERA over 5, and Flaherty's is approaching 5. So we'll see what happens there. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day, and we will, of course, be back on Monday recapping the rest of this series. Go enjoy your weekend. Spend time with the family. Get outside, enjoy the nice weather. It's summertime in Michigan, and that's a beautiful thing. We'll reconvene on Monday. I appreciate you all greatly. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all then, baby. Go Tigers.